my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. Got quite a bit to talk to you about today. You made some good progress on the Waterwheel project and got some video evidence of that. First, let's start off with a couple of housekeeping things. We have a live show coming up Thursday evening, 7 o'clock p.m. So that'll be this coming Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. right here. Same place, not the same time though. Be 7 o'clock p.m. Thursday evening. Mark your calendars. If you want to put your requests in for in the comment section today, I'll try to write them down and get them to the band, and hopefully we'll get some of those covered. Can't guarantee that any of them will be covered, but I would imagine a good number of them will. On this coming show, it looks like we may have an addition. We may have Patty Morrow on the fiddle coming. I haven't talked to Cash, but maybe we could get Cash here too. The only problem is it gets to be so crowded. We just have so many people. I didn't know Patty was coming till the last minute here. She has some more fiddles of her father's, handmade fiddles that she wants to auction off. And so she's going to bring those. And then I told her, well, just come Thursday then and be part of the live show, you know. So anyway, all that's going to happen too. I think that's everything on the show, so make your request if you can. The ongoing lung infection thing, it's eased up a little bit, I think. It's still quite there. It's not going away anytime real soon. It never does. I expect to have it for another several weeks, if not a couple of months even. It can really go very long time, actually. But I'm trying to do it without the antibiotics. I hate to take the darn antibiotics, but we'll just have to wait and see if it gets worse or better, because sometimes it'll get better and then it gets worse again. Doctors describe it as it's kind of like some mild form of pneumonia or something is the way they describe it to me. Let's see. The shoulder is pretty tender. It's still pretty sore. Friday evening, I think it was, I was moving it around like this and it finally popped. I think something kind of went back in place that eased it up quite a bit on Friday evening. I've been working just as hard as ever the whole weekend, in fact, and I can lift with it no problem. I just can't raise it above my shoulder, if you will. So as long as I'm working below my, shoulder height, it doesn't seem to bother me too much. In other news, I released the Arc Captain Welder video over the weekend, or yesterday, in fact, I think. I don't know. I haven't even looked to see if anybody's watched it at all or not, but it basically was titled Fixing Some Things with the Arc Captain Welder. And I'll tell you what, I fixed a lot more things since that video. Here's just a short list of some of the things I fixed since the video. In fact, most of these were this weekend. I welded that crane that goes out on the front of my Bobcat bucket that's going to be used. You'll see it here in a minute being used to move those big trusses. I re-welded a number of places on that crane and fixed a few places. Some places had gotten filled up with water and then froze and busted. So you know how pipe does that, swells up and breaks. So I fixed all those breaks with the Arc Captain welder. I actually welded the grapple bucket up in several places. And I welded up some gate hinges for one of Sue's pasture gates. So I've used that little Arc Captain welder a lot. I really like it. It's a good welder. It's a couple $100. If you need a welder, I was saying, just for real light duty, but I'm using it for way more than light duty. I'm using it for heavy duty stuff, and it's holding right up. In fact, it burns through. It'll burn a hole through. Quarter-inch steel for sure. I don't know that I've tried to burn through or used it hot enough on a half-inch to say it'll burn through half-inch, but I kind of think it will. It's amazingly powerful. So if you need a welder at a good price and one that can do, it can do stick welding, it can do wire feed welding, like a MIG, except that you don't have the gas. It's just, you use the flux core. And then it can also do lift TIG. Now, the lift TIG gun, that torch is sold separately. That's what I found out. But anyway, it's pretty cool. I really do like it. I recommend it. Unfortunately, I don't get any kickbacks on that, at least not right now. They said I can sign up and get a 5% thing, but gee whiz, all their processes for signing up all these things that I've done in the past are just a pain in the neck, hardly worth doing. So, like I told you, money ain't that important to me, and if something's a major hassle, I just don't do it. And most of that's a major hassle. I sawed 3 more logs this morning, cedar logs, made 3 more 5x5 trusses, plus a few 3/4 pieces and a few 1.5-inch pieces that I'll be using on the Waterwheel house. So I got those 3 logs set up this morning. I also set up the last 2 trusses this morning that I will attach together and put the eave board on it for the overhang. So I've got to do that again. The one that you have seen me working on over the last week is now on top of the building, and I'll show you that here in just a minute, the video on that. Let's see. So the way this went down was I think it was Saturday. Yeah, I think it's hard to keep things straight. I do so many things. But anyway, Sue says to me, JR's on his way over to help you move those trusses. And I went, I didn't know, she arranges these things behind my back. I wasn't really ready for him, because I needed to put some more 2x4s on top of the walls. I didn't have the final 2x4s up there on top of the walls to set these trusses on. So I had to put another layer of 2x4s on there. And then it was when anyway, and I was also going to make plans to really do a good job filming it, Well, this rushes me when, like she said, he's on his way over to help you move him. It's like, it drives me crazy. Stuff like that drives me nuts. I don't like to be rushed. So I'm trying to get everything ready. I'm trying to get all the tools up there that I'm going to need. It's a bigger thing than just moving the trusses. There's a lot to it, especially when you want to film it. You got to get all the different cameras and get everything set up. Well, almost no sooner than she tells me that, JR shows up, and he's going, look, there's a storm coming, going to be here in the next 15 minutes. We got to hurry. So that just put me in a bigger hurry. So we didn't get it filmed very well at all. In fact, we didn't film the critical part of it, and which just drives me nuts because I do all of that work, and for me, the payoff is filming the pièce de résistance, if you will, the money shot is putting it up on the building. Well, that didn't get filmed. Why not? Because the camera ran out of batteries in the middle of all the hassle. The storm was starting to blow in. The rain was starting to come. Who has time to deal with all that? You know what I'm saying? It was just a major hassle. So here's video, and these are just clips of what I did get. So here you go.
Get up close.
it looks brighter out here on camera than it is. It's actually raining now, and it's fixing to be a big storm. We just got the trusses up there. It was a huge hassle, and we just couldn't get it filmed. I'm sorry. I wished it would have been filmed. But we were able to raise it up there with the Bobcat, put it right in place. So it was no problem at all, actually.
Not like a little problem.
So it worked out really, really well.
Well, that's what we got out of it. Right as I got it up there, I realized I still hadn't put that top layer of 2x4s on there. You know, I had forgot about that because I was so rushed. And then I remembered as soon as we got up there. So I had to set it down. JR and I put the top layer of 2x4s on there. And those have to be cut and fit in place and all that. And they overlap the wall, the top wall 2x4s, so that it locks the walls together, if you will. It's hard to explain that, but like if the it's hard, you know, the walls they come together like that. Well, then you put your other 2x4, which spans that crack, on top of that and nail it together. That way the walls can't pull apart. It would be pretty much impossible. So it makes your building really strong, for one thing. Plus, having that second layer gives more strength to it, so that when you're setting those heavy trusses on it, they don't bow, you know. Well, anyway, so we had to put that up there, did that, and about that time, you know, Sue's telling me, well, the GoPro battery is dead, you know, and so it's, yeah, it just, and then it started raining, and so there's what you got out of it. So then this picks up right after that. It's during the rain, and these are just little short clips here, but I'll just show you that too. It's a little better view of it, I guess.
Well, it was a super hurry at the last minute. You can probably tell it's raining if you look at the pond there. It's raining really hard. We were rushing to get it up there. It really went very easy, actually. The Bobcat picked it up, no trouble at all. Lifted it right up there. Well, my friends, here's a look at the ducks and the pond, and your first perspective view of the mill house with some of the roof up there. Give you some idea what it looks like. It's going to be really nice, I think. It's just going to be really nice. Once we get that all sided and fixed in and the windows in, yeah, there's a long way to go, and that's one steep roof. 45 degrees is a really steep roof. That's a 12-12, I think is what they call it. Difficult to walk on that.
Well, anyway, that much is done. So now I'm building that thing, the same thing that you saw me haul there. I'm building the mirror image of it, if you will, for the other end of the building, the driveway side of the building, which will even be easier to put up there because it's much closer to the driveway. And because that one there was the one that was all the way on the far side of the building, so we had to reach further out across there. So the other one will be even easier to set in place. So it shouldn't be any big hassle or problem. Just a lot of work. That's all I can tell you for sure. It is a lot of work. Let's see, what else? I think that's everything I was going to cover. So let's go to the comments here and see what we've got. Rod Wentler was the first one in there. Dottie Hildebrandt is praying for us. Thank you, Dottie. Dottie's asking for prayers. I have a bad case of shingles. Oh my gosh, I've heard that is horrible. Face, ear, mouth, lips. Wow, that's a bad place to have it also. That's terrible. Very sorry for you. Yes, we will pray for you. Doggone it. Terrible. Moving on down, B.H. Ringer, the most terrifying moment in life is when the toilet refuses to flush at someone else's house. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Let's see. Moving on down, doesn't look like there's any more questions till after we went live. We got Richard Herbranson says, "Darling, you can't love one." Darling, you can't love song request. Okay. I'll write it down. In fact, I think I'm going to type it. Let me create a page here. Darling, you can't love one, and that was requested by Richard Herbranson. Okay, got that one. Dottie Hildebrand, song request. Hold is on the way. Help is on the way, I'm sure is what she means. Help is on the way. Well, if I could just type, it'd be much easier. Okay, let's see. Steve Smith says, try rebuilding the carb on the wife's tractor. I haven't, well, I mean, I more or less did rebuild it, if you will. There's not many parts on that carb that need to be replaced or anything. I took it completely apart, put it back together, and I haven't messed with it, is the truth. I just don't have time. So I'm just waiting on that electric fuel pump. I've just decided it's not even worth my hassle till I know I've got a decent fuel pump going on there, because the fuel tank sits below the motor on this. You cannot siphon it down or let gravity feed it down, and there's no place to mount a tank up above because there's nothing above. You'd have to wear it on top of your head or something. It's just, there's no way to make it work the other way. I mean, you could do it temporarily, but I'm not interested in temporary. So anyway, so that's what I'm waiting on. And I feel fairly sure that once I get this fuel pump on there, that I'll be able to make it work by adjusting the carburetor or whatever I need to do at that point. Like I said, I took the carburetor completely apart, and so it's probably out of adjustment at least. And but until I'm sure I'm getting fuel, which I'm not at this point, and all of the lines have been replaced. People keep saying the fuel lines can collapse. Well, I've been doing this pretty much my whole life. And when I say that, I mean it. I've been doing it since I was like 10, 12 years old. My dad had a lawn service, and he had lots of lawn tractors, had lots of push mowers. All of them needed service all the time, and I was pretty much the service guy, taking them apart, fixing them, and all that ever since I was about 12 years old. And that's no kidding. So I know a lot about this stuff. It's not like it's my first time ever. And in all of that time, and I can't tell you how many people have said those fuel lines can collapse. Well, that may be true. I'm not doubting it, because anything's possible. But in all that time, I've never seen a fuel line collapse. I mean, in all that time. And plus, I've got brand new fuel lines on it, so I don't think that's my problem. But people keep telling me to check that. Well, it's been checked. I sound 100% better today, according to Ronald Todd. Well, thank you. I don't feel a whole lot better, honestly. In fact, I don't feel very good, but it's kind of settled in now. It's not, I don't know. I'm so used to it. I've dealt with this so many times in my life. I just kind of get used to it. Rod says he loved the Welder video. Well, great. They were trying to convince me to reduce the video down to only 5 minutes. And I said, well, look, I could do that, and I could. I said, but I don't want to do that. I said, my videos are about doing stuff. And in this case, it's doing stuff, promoting your product and showing your product that it works. I'm just not going to reduce it down to 5 minutes and just make it a product review video. That's just not who I am. And so I stood by my guns and went ahead and released it, even though they probably hate me for it. But too bad, so sad. That's all I got to say. I love the Welder. That part I'm not kidding about. That Welder is just killer for such a little tiny thing. That thing is killer. Especially the fact that you plug it into a 110 outlet and you can weld half-inch steel with it, no problem at all. No problem at all. It's not even like you have to baby it. It just does it. In fact, you have to keep turning it down because it wants to burn through everything it touches, it seems like. It seems to be hotter than my big Lincoln arc welder, if that makes any sense, if you want to compare it to that. I love the thing. It's a great welder. Let's see. Okay, Hugh O'Connor, Old Paint. I think that's called... I can't think of the title of it. I think I know which one you're talking about. Long about roundup time in Texas, way back when. Lost a friend. Old Pal. Old Pal is what it's called. It's not Old Paint, Old Pal. I knew it was close, but I couldn't come up with it. And let's see, who's requesting that again? Hugh O'Connor. At least I think that's the song you're talking about. If it's not, correct me. That's one I do, and that's a yodel tune. Rod Wentler, love the well. Okay, I already read that. Let's see. Donald Matthews, Banjo in the Hollow. I don't know about that one. I'm not sure about that one. Leon might know it. Let's see. That was Donald Matthews. I'll write her down there, Donald, but I don't know about that one. Since I've never heard it, or at least I don't think I have, I just kind of doubt that Leon knows it either, but you never know. Dottie Hildebrand, after watching that video of that little welder, thinking of getting one. I can't recommend it highly enough. I'm serious. That little sucker is the real deal. I don't even use my other welders now. I'm just, because that thing's so light. I can, like like I could get the big leads out and move the big welder a little bit, and pull it around. I don't. I just grab that little sucker, walk over to the wall outlet, plug it in, and start welding. I love that thing. It's a cool welder. When they sent it to me and I looked how little it was coming out of the box, I thought, oh, this is going to be a big joke, But it's not a joke at all. Eddie Turner, request Welcome to My World by Eddie Arnold, I think, right? I'll write it down. I don't think anybody knows that one. Let's see. That was Eddie Turner, right? I'll see. Ronald, it scrolled on me. Yeah, it scrolled a lot. I don't know where I went. Okay. Ronald Todd, I am a man of constant sorrow. He says 3 chords, D, A, and G. We might be able to play along. Not sure what the numbers are. Well, if I do that one, Ronald, I'd have to do it in F, honestly. You got to do songs in the keys you can sing them in. And I can't really sing that song in the other keys like that. I don't know. I don't know if we've done it before, but I generally do it in F. I don't think I could do it in D. I'll see if I can, but anyway, it's just a 1-4-5 chord song. Pretty much all songs are 1-4-5, and then some of them will have a 2 and maybe a 6 or a 6 minor or something like that. But the base of almost every song, and I say that knowing that it's not true, but it's sort of true, like it's about an 85% truth that you can just say every song has a 1-4-5. 85% of the time you're going to be right. So and in whatever key you're singing it in is 1 instantly. So if I sang it in F, F would be 1, you know. And anyway, I think B flat is 4 if I'm not mistaken. I don't even know what the letters are, but I know where 4 is from F, and I know where 5 is from F. So that's all you need to know. Yeah, it would be B flat and C is what it would be. F, B flat, and C. 1, 4, 5. Let's see. Moving on down. Bill Roach, Wayfaring Stranger. I'll write it down. You guys are filling up my plate already. Let's see. Help is on the way. Goodbye, old pal. Goodbye, old pal is really what that's called, I think. I think it is. That one, and then Man of Constant Sorrow and Wayfaring Stranger, those are all mine. So, let's see. Moving on down. Ronald Todd, do you have a hydraulic pressure leak in your Bobcat? It looks like it was slowly lowering. Well, it probably does have. I mean, almost all of those old equipment have some kind of leak. But you got to realize the torque that was on that sucker. I mean, we're talking, it's out there like 15 feet out in front of the Bobcat, and it's 600 pounds. So, yeah, it's probably got a slow leak in that regard. But part of it was I just wasn't getting it high enough, and we were on terrain that wasn't exactly what you call level. So I kept raising it up. But all that old equipment, I don't care whose old equipment you talk about, they all have some bit of a pressure leak. Trusses looking mighty fine up on the wheelhouse. Thank you. Nancy Milwaukee is a friend of mine had colon cancer. Oh, she was talking about Dottie's shingles there too, and said the shingles was much more painful. Yeah, I don't wish anybody to have shingles or, well, colon cancer either, but shingles is really bad. Eddie D. Hi, Jerry. I think there's too much restriction with the fuel filter on that riding lawnmower, or the fuel pump is defective. Try it without the fuel filter. Yeah, like I said, I'm waiting on a fuel pump. That's the problem. The fuel filter, I don't think, is the issue at all. I really don't. It's just not getting fuel. The fuel filter is brand new and it's big and just plenty open to let fuel flow through. Steve Smith asks, how is Sadie? The answer is I don't know. She has been gone for a while now. Sue absolutely, I'm not making it up, Sue absolutely hated her. She just hated Sadie because Sadie wouldn't stop jumping on you. And I don't care who you are or how many times you go out there, she just can't stop jumping on you. Drives you crazy. You can't keep her from it. She just keeps doing it, you know. And so JR and Becca took her back and are looking for a home for her. I don't know if they ever found one or not, to be truthful. Like I said, I don't become attached to animals. It's just, I'm sorry, it offends people. I know some people find it really terrible. It's just my nature. If you had received as many beatings as I did over small animals and had as many of them taken away and sold out from under you as I did, you would learn to not be attached to them also. And it's just my nature. I can't help it. It's just the way I am. Look down upon me for it if you want, but it's just the way it is. Had you received as many beatings as I've received on small animals, not only would you not like them, you would probably hate them. I don't hate animals. I just have no real need to be around them. I was hoping Sadie would prove to be a really good dog. And for me, she was. I mean, she was doing what I wanted, but Sue just couldn't stand her. And I have to admit, she hurt. I couldn't even tell you how many people that came here. She scratched them, cut them, nipped them, broke their watches, different things. I mean, she was a pain. She just couldn't settle down. She just was. I'm sure she will settle down in time, but it just was one of them deals. So she's not here. KRRA 512, total unrelated. Do you think your new laser will cut bamboo plywood well? I think so. I think it will cut it pretty well. I just as a side note here, now that you brought that up, I already drew up what I'm calling laser cut adjusters for when I make shingles. You have to raise one end of your shingle block up by a 1/2 inch, and then you saw through, and then you drop it down a 1/2 inch. Well, I've made some precision adjusters, if you will, that I can slide on a slide that will raise it up exactly a 1/2 inch, and I made those with my laser cutter. It's got nothing to do with the bamboo plywood, but I'll cut it out of regular plywood. Bill Mumbo, don't you mean welcome to my weld instead of welcome to my world? That's pretty funny. Richard Herbran said, did you find out who sells the welder? Well, I mean, I know it's on the Art Captain website. Well, okay, the truth is that I did put a link in the video to the welder on their website. Now, when I first went to their website, I checked and checked and checked. I couldn't find it. It's just not where I was expecting to find it. It's on their website. So I put a link in the description of the video to the welder. I wish it was on Amazon, because I would like to put a link out there for Amazon and really push it, because I think it's a great welder. I really do. Like I said, I've got, I don't know how many welders I've got now. I've got one that's mostly TIG. It's TIG and stick. It's a big welder from Harbor Freight. It's a good size one. So I got that one. I've got my Lincoln stick welder. I've got another smaller wire feed welder from Harbor Freight that I can also do aluminum with. And, well, I had another little wire feed welder that was a piece of junk. I gave that to my grandson Isaac and, let him play with it, basically. And now I've got this Art Captain welder. And right now, I don't need any other welders. I mean, seriously. Well, when I need to do aluminum, it would be better to use the one from Harbor Freight. Or if I really wanted to do quality TIG welding, it would probably be the one I would use. Also, would be the one from Harbor Freight. But for just regular wire feed welding and for regular arc welding, right now, that Art Captain's all I need. This thing is killer. Let's see. Terry Went. Jerry, check the vacuum port on the engine. Maybe the plugged, not getting enough vac for the fuel pump. Yeah, well, I did. I took it apart and all that, but I didn't see a problem. I just think those little vacuum pumps are just cheap junk, is really what it amounts to. That's what I think. Although it's kind of funny that the one worked for so many years, but they make everything so cheap these days. So I just don't know. I don't know what the problem is for sure. Because if I did, I'd already have it fixed. But pretty much everything everybody's suggesting, I've already done or tried 5 times already. So I'm just waiting on a good quality fuel pump to get here that I know delivers fuel. And then we'll see what the real problem is. Maybe once it gets consistent, I'll be able to figure it out and get it more accurate, whatever. Eddie Turner, Jim Reeves. So I guess any song with Jim Reeves. I know one for sure. Maybe that Welcome to My World was Jim Reeves. Is that what you're saying? Welcome to My World? Okay. All right. I guess that's what you're saying. I would have thought that Welcome to My World was Eddie Arnold. But maybe it is Jim Reeves. Yeah, probably is. I don't know. What I know about all that, you can put in a thimble. Let's see. Daddy Hildebrandt, your Bobcat did the job. I think as really surprised. Good job, Jerry. Yeah, and you could tell that long reach crane that I built for that, it was pretty much all it wanted. It didn't, with it being stuck out there that far, you know what I'm saying? Because you're hanging 600 pounds at the end of that. It puts a pretty good strain on that crane. Could it have handled any more? Yeah, probably another couple hundred pounds would be it. I wouldn't want to put any more than about 200 more pounds on it. I think that would be all she wrote on that crane at that distance. Now, when I put those real heavy trusses up on that metal building, they were like 900 pounds. And, I did it differently. I fixed it where I could get the crane almost going straight up like this. And I wasn't reaching out with the crane because it wouldn't pick up 900 pounds sticking that far out, I don't think. Plus, the crane was actually a little shorter, too. You could see there that I had added on about another 6 feet out on the end of that crane. It's just, that was all that crane wants right now, the way I've got it designed. But it worked. And like I said, you will know if it's going to work within the first 5 minutes because you pick it up. And if it just goes and bends down and breaks, well, it's not going to work. But it seemed to hold it just fine. And by the fact that you could travel that far with it holding it, then you've got confidence to raise it up and put it on the building. Had it broke halfway down there, well, then we'd know it wouldn't work, So I wasn't too worried about it. Larry Fisher, I had shingles 20 years ago in my face. On my face, doctors were concerned it get in my eyes, very painful. Yeah, I wouldn't want that. Ronald Todd, I'm with you about getting attached to animals. It sounds like our bringing were very similar. Yeah, I don't mean to wail on my dad. That's not what I mean. He was a good guy, really. But he was very, very, very strict. He was on his own from the time he was 12. He literally was on his own. His parents split up or whatever, and I guess he didn't want to go with either one of them. He started working at a gas station, supporting himself. He dropped out of school, so I don't think he even finished the 6th grade. I'm not really sure. He was very uneducated. He made a good living for himself. He did really well. But he was really strict on things like, feeding animals, cleaning stalls, things like that. If you didn't do it exactly like he wanted, he was on you big time. And so I just had all I wanted about animals at a very young age. And it's just the way it is. I can't help it. I can't feel sorry or sad. That's just the way it is. You believe what you want. Hate me if you want, but it's just the way it is. I ain't gonna lie about it. So Ronald Todd, those welders are on Amazon, just not that model. Yeah, they do have Arc Captain welders out there. I wish they had this specific one because I can't recommend the other ones because I didn't even tried them, but for this one for sure. This 145 Pro, it's all the welder, 90% of the, your homeowners and weekend warriors, it's 90%. It'll cover 90% of your needs, 95% of your needs, maybe. Eddie D says, you have enough welders to start a business, Jerry. Welding service. Yeah, again, I'm not an expert welder. I'm not, but I can get the job done, and I can make it hold. Where, like, just as a good example, maybe I didn't even say this in the what I welded with that since then. Another thing I welded since then is Sue took the auger on the Bobcat. We have this big auger that drills holes in the ground, and she took it back there to drill holes to put in new gate posts for one of her pastures, which is the reason I welded up those gate hinges. But anyway, the side thing, another thing I welded with it was when she was using the auger broke. I mean, the factory weld on the auger around where it attaches, like around the auger itself, where it attaches at the top, that factory weld broke. So I just put it back together, lined it up best I could, and welded it with the Arc Captain welder, and it penetrated deeper for sure than the factory weld. The factory weld didn't penetrate very deep. This was the reason it broke. And so I welded it up, and she went out and welded the holes, drilled the holes, and had no trouble with it. So that's a real welder. I mean, that sucker works good, especially as small. I love how small it is. I love how you can plug it in anywhere. You can plug it in your garage. You can plug it in on your back porch. You can take it down to the shed, wherever you got electric. You can plug it in, and it works. It's killer. Let's see. Yeah, Eddie Turner says yes. So that's what he meant, was that Welcome to My World was Jim Reeves. Okay, I'll look that up under Jim Reeves and see if I can do that for you. I know a Jim Reeves tune, but it's not that one. The one I know is He's with you, or what's that one? I can't think of it right now, but if I could think of the first line, I could sing the whole song. Let's see, moving on down. Wavy Gravy. I heard that Sadie is now a professional poker player. The trouble is when she gets a good hand, she wags her tail. Yeah, she probably do that. Again, I just want to say, for clarity purposes, she wasn't jumping on people to be mean. She was just being playful, but she was overpoweringly playful. She's a pretty big dog, actually. She was pretty good size, and she would knock Leighton down, our grandson, down, and just get on top of him, and he couldn't get up, and he'd be screaming. The grandsons don't like her at all because she was just way too, rambunctious for him. I liked her. I liked her. She was a good dog. I didn't have a problem with her. But I came home and she was gone. So, again, just kind of like my whole life has been. I didn't even know that JR and Becker were coming to get her, but they came and got her and took her back. So, there you go. Let's see. Ronald Todd, same with my dad. Yeah. Well, it sounds like we did kind of grow up the same way that way. I think that crane is impressive. Is the last section a solid bar? If not, then I'm totally impressed. It's not a solid bar. It's a piece of pipe that goes out there, but then I put a piece of angle on it above it, and then I put a brace under it also. So it's a piece of pipe, but it's braced on the top and the bottom, and the brace on the bottom is at an angle enough to keep it from bending down, if you will. It's pretty braced. It's could it be better? Sure. But, when you're trying to get something to reach out that far, you can only do so much. I mean, I could have put a huge, heavy pipe or something on it and make it reach out there. But then you start to, it's a diminishing, it's a point of diminishing return once you do stuff like that. So I think it works really well for what it is and for the size that it is. Jeff Purist, not exactly in the genre, but do you do City of New Orleans? I'm not sure about that. We've done it. I should say that I've done it a number of times over the years in jams and things with different people doing it, but I don't know that anyone in the band actually knows it, but I'll write it down. And let's see, Jeff Pierce. We've done it. I mean, I know all of us have jammed to it at one time or another. Dottie Hillbrand, do you hate when Sue gets your equipment? She breaks stuff. Yeah, she does. It's pretty much, it's just constant. It's just all the time. But on the other hand, you can't break anything if you don't do anything. You know what I'm saying? So she's always doing something. I'm not exactly complaining. It's just that it keeps me busy just fixing stuff. Her and JR both just fixing stuff. Well, in fact, really just minutes, 2 minutes before we went live, she walks in here and says, JR broke the sickle bar on his new piece of equipment, his hay bine. And so I have a feeling I'll be out there this afternoon welding that up. And I'll probably use the Art Captain welder to weld that too. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Ronald Todd, I think I saw that welder price at $219.99. Yeah, it's just a couple $100. I mean, it's for that kind of money, if you need a welder, yeah, I'd say go for it. Jim Reeves, he'll have to go. Yeah, he'll have to go. That's the one I know. He'll have to go. Nancy, she also killed 2 of Sue's ducks. Yeah, she did. She did. Well, I don't even know that's 100% true, to be honest. I kind of think they saw evidence. You know, there's a lot of dogs around here, and it could have been another dog. I'm not 100% sure they know it was Sadie on both ducks. I think they know it was Sadie on one, maybe. How's Sue's hip doing? Dottie's asking, and she fell. What's weird is she fell out there where she was working on those fence posts, and she apparently hurt herself, but she's still going. So all I can tell you is, you talk about the Energizer Bunny. Well, there you go. She doesn't stop, and she won't let me stop either. I mean, seriously, like yesterday afternoon or evening, I was done. I was just trying to relax and sit on. Would you come out and weld this, auger up for me? It's like, does it need to be done tonight? Yeah, I got to use it. And I'm like, okay. So it's just like you can't find 5 minutes rest around here. It's impossible. Wavy Grave says, can't JR fix his own stuff by now? Well, he can fix a lot of stuff. Yeah, he does. He can weld pretty well, but I think this particular thing that broke apparently had broken once before and had been welded once before. So I think probably I ought to take a look at it and see if there's a way I can improve the fix and maybe fix it where it won't break again. Yeah, it's not always whether a person can do something or not. It's whether or not you know the best way to do something, if that makes any sense. And not that I'm trying to brag on that too much, but if anybody around here would know the best way to do something, that would be me. Because I've been doing it my whole life. Just been doing it my whole life. Nancy Miluski says, maybe the welder company wants a shorter video to put on their website and or YouTube channel. That's probably true. I told them they could use it and take excerpts or whatever. They can make their own video out of it if they want to edit it. That's their business. I don't have a problem with that. Simon Jardine, I barred my wife from using the lawnmower, not because she broke it. She wouldn't clean it, and then those cuttings dry up on and cement on the underside of the mower. Yeah, and that's not even so bad. It's what it does to the mower itself. It actually rusts out the deck and all that stuff. And at least this particular mower, the lawnmower, is a very heavy-duty industrial type mower. It's not just your average lawn tractor, if you will. It's a heavy-duty one, and it holds up pretty well. But even that will rust over time if you don't take care of it and keep it cleaned out. But pretty much every time I change the blades or fix the blades, I knock all the junk out from underneath it. But anyway, I guess that's going to be it, guys. Thanks for being here. 163 viewers, and it's looks like that's maybe a record for the afternoon vlogs at 163. So thank you for being here. I will be back tomorrow with something else. I'll pass the requests along to the band, and maybe we'll get some of those done. We'll see you tomorrow.